Hello again. Right now I'll be running you guys through how to set up an IDE using PyCharm. So IDE just stands for Integrated Development Environment, and it allows you to essentially run, debug, test your code all using a nice user interface, which kind of makes things easier sometimes. So IDEs make coding a lot easier. You can basically use Vim for everything, but it makes it harder. I did my entire honors project in Vim, and that almost broke me as a human. So I'd recommend using an IDE. It highlights code if you've got things wrong, etc. The one that I like to use for Python is PyCharm, so I really enjoy the JetBrains IDEs. I don't work for them, unfortunately, but hey, if anyone's from JetBrains and wants to sponsor me, I'd take that. Just kidding. So we use the professional version because we're UQ students and they give it to us for free, so you just download that. And then once that's downloaded, you can actually also create a student account with them using your UQ student email and apply for this, and you'll definitely get it. So it's super useful, so you can use the professional edition, which is a fair bit nicer than the community edition. Just make sure you're downloading the right one for your computer. So you might want to take a little break and, I'll take a little break, pause the video, install it, and then come back once you've got PyCharm installed. So I'm going to assume you did that, and let's search for PyCharm and open it up on our computer. So yours obviously won't have any of these projects here, and the first time you log in, you'll need to put in your student login details so that you can activate your account. So that's why I recommend signing up for the student account before you actually open up this PyCharm for the first time. But yeah, basically now you can click on this and you can go create a new project or open. I usually prefer to open from the folder. So if it's me, I would actually just open up terminal and create a new folder. So I'll go to my documents. I'll go into that video example that we created before. And I'm going to go make a directory called Python code. Now I'm going to open a project. Once PyCharm opens, I'm going to go into my documents, into my video example, and then into my Python code, and let's open that nice empty folder. Cool. Move this down. So now we've got basically nothing in here, but let's create a new file, new Python file, and let's call it example, and it automatically will add the py at the end. What we can do is we can just import numpy, which I have actually installed by default, and we can import matplotlib.pyplot as plot, which I actually have installed as well. I was trying to find something which I didn't have installed, and we can just print out something, cats. And see how we can't run this? To make our first Python file runnable, we can go if name equals main. And this is just basically Python's way of saying, yep, you can run it. So we could just run this example and it'll print out our cats, because that executes at the first, and then dogs. So if you notice, it's using the default Python of my computer, usr/bin/python 2.7. So that means we could also do things like print dogs like this, which you're not allowed to do in Python 3.8. So to configure our environment, what we want to do is click PyCharm, Preferences, and we're going to change it to the Conda environment that we set up before. So we're going to click Project Interpreter, and rather than this Python 2.7, we're going to click the Settings button, Add, not Show All, Add, and we're going to go to our Conda environment, and what we want to do is existing environment, and it actually defaulted, which is kind of nice, to our miniconda/m/video environment, which is the one that we set up in the previous video, /bin/python. So we'll make that available to all projects, just so that other projects can use it. Click OK, and we'll see that we only have the things that we installed before. So we have Seaborn, which we installed, and a couple of its defaults, and we also have NumPy. So let's go OK. Now this will change this one next time we run it. So it does take a little bit of time to activate itself, but once it does, actually that should become red. See how this has now become not allowed? It's got a red flag here. So in Python 3.8, you stopped being allowed to just write print. So you now have to have the open and close brackets around it. So now if we run this, we can see that this is going to our users Ariane opt miniconda 3 video env/bin/python to run that. But it basically does the same thing since it's just printing out 2 statements, which is not very exciting. But there will be a purpose later. Basically also, if you don't enjoy PyCharm, that's cool. Lots of other great IDEs. It's just the one that I personally prefer to use. And I think it's great if people make other videos to share with others, so go for it. Up next, I'll be running through Git and version control. So it's really important in science, especially I think, to manage your code in a way that is clear and reproducible so that other people can understand the changes that you've made. Especially if you're collaborating with people, it's really good if you can get into the habit of using GitHub for your work. It also looks good to have GitHub on your account for future employers because then they know you have these basic skills, which are really important. So I'll see you guys all back for that one.